Hello and welcome, Stand-Up World. It's a good day to be listening and watching and or both to Stand-Up World because we have a great guest today. Truly, and I'm not just saying this, one of my favorite comedians of all time. I think this guy is so special. I really do. I love where he comes from. I love the way he looks at the world. And I went and saw him do a full show a while back, and I was just blown away. His name is Doug Standhope, and I actually have to raise my voice a little like an announcer when I say his name. That's how impressive. Say hello to Patrick Arnold, ladies and
Mike.
Gentlemen. Patrick, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited. Doug Stanhope. You know how hard I worked to get this guy on this show? Yes, I had to work very hard to get Mr. Stanhope to come be on the show. And he finally said yes. I think he just wanted to be left alone. I'm going to just do his stupid ass podcast just to shut him up. But I love him. You know, he's like the Hunter S. Thompson of stand-up comedy. You know, he really is. And he does his own thing and he created his own world. And anybody knows anything about what I'm doing here with this, those are the guys that really light my fire. Guys that just do their own thing and bushwhack through the woods. So he's here today. Let's get to him. Ready? Doug Stanhope. Doug Stanhope, how are you, buddy? Thank you so much for doing this. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time.
Yes. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing well. You know, when I did that Comedy Store documentary, you were like a ghost. You know, you were like a guy that I couldn't get to. I didn't do. Just you weren't around, and you've got mentioned a lot, and your picture was around a lot, and I didn't really. I missed you. You were gone. I was gone by the time you showed up at the Comedy Store, and you were gone by the time I came back.
Yeah, I was always a intermittent guest at the Comedy Store. I was never a regular. I was never a weekly basis guy, and I haven't lived in LA for 18 years. So now I get back maybe once every year or two.
Well, you're living like in Arizona somewhere, right?
Yeah, Bisbee, Arizona.
Yeah. What is that, like a witness protection thing, or what are you doing?
Might as well be. It's kind of a hippie town. It's like 5,000 people on the Mexican border. So I live my life to avoid traffic.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I do that by staying home.
Yeah, I do that too. I'm not agoraphobic as much as I'm not afraid of going out. I'm agoraphilic. It's like more of a fetish. I love not going out. I love my shit. I love my house. We have a standalone the fun house where we used to record the podcast, but now we can put like 30 people in there, so we do shows in there, and I could select my audience from the crowd of friends I have. That okay, she's a good laugher. Let's sit her here, and that guy always fucking talks back, so let's not even tell him there's a show. Yeah, so
that's funny. And is there a club in your town or something, or anything that you can just jump up?
No, there's no comedy club. The closest city is Tucson, and even their comedy scene is fucking atrocious. They have one club that's one of those 80s relic clubs that, yeah, they're only open Friday, Saturday, and they're not local friendly. So
I remember, I think it was Phoenix, the very first improv that was a flagship club. There was a guy named I forget his name. He wanted to be a comedian, and he talked Bud into doing a club, and he opened up this beautiful club and improv in Phoenix. An improv. It was a giant room with a big
Yeah.
big lofty room, and I it was so long ago. I was headlining, and Andrew Dice Clay was the opener, the middle for me. That's how long
Nice.
ago it was.
Wow. Yeah, no, I
And
remember that room. I started in Phoenix, basically. I started in Vegas for 6 months and then moved to Phoenix, and that place was just cavernous.
yeah,
I remember going there for one of the morning radio shows had their anniversary show live at 6 o'clock in the morning. They broadcast live from the Improv, and I remember having Bloody Marys and getting hammered because they were doing, they had stand up, the local comics rotating through and doing clean sets, but just getting drunk. And since I've been doing some like noontime shows, and it's such a great just the feeling of day drinking shows, and I really want to like explore maybe doing some 6 a.m. shows just to
that's
see
really
what the
funny.
results are.
That's really funny. It wasn't
There
it
had
like
people
like
that
a barn, an ark kind of thing?
Yeah, it was like it was an airplane hangar. It was like
Yeah.
I think it sat like 400 and change.
And just told me recently. I totally forgot this. I don't think he was even Dice yet. They fired him on the second night, and they wanted to, and we talked him out of it. Me and the other comedian. I said, "Look, don't fire him. Don't." But I don't even. I guess I don't even know what they didn't like him or something. He was like Andrew Silverstein, and he was trying to remind me the story, but they wanted to send him home. It was like this is like
Was it for being dice-ish?
I guess I think that he didn't really have it wasn't focused enough, you know. It was just like, "Hey, fuck you," okay, but he was still a guy named Andrew Silverstein, and it didn't. It felt incongruous or something.
Well, so I started in 90. So was there ever a period in the 80s that like there is today where you had to be really clean generally, where you could get fired for just, I mean, it's that whole Ellen DeGeneres kind of generation of comedy where that's why Dice and Kinnison exploded, because everyone
Right.
was just saturated with fucking airplane food, material,
That's right.
and some guy comes out and says cocksucker, and fucking the roof comes off the place.
That's right. That's right. But and it was also you got to remember at that time we all needed to be on the Tonight Show, and we needed to, I started in '77,
All
right?
right.
So we when I was it was a couple years in that we first were getting like shots on cable television where you could actually swear a little bit, but everybody wanted to be clean and then wanted to be dirty some in the clubs. But a guy like Dice, I'll hand it to him, man. He used to go up in movie theaters. He would just go on before the trailers go up. He'd find places to go on stage. And when he finally got the Dice thing down, it was so raw. And you're right. People were just ready to hear it. But I don't think, I think in the clubs, I remember that because like I said, that was the first improv, and there was the Comedy Castle in Detroit, and the Punchline in Atlanta. There weren't that many comedy clubs, but you could pretty much say what you wanted to in those clubs.
All right.
Even though there were the Ellens and the Jerry Seinfelds, and Leno worked pretty clean, but he would swear now and then. But you could do the act you're doing now, and get away with it back then.
I love when I see like Vegas posters. I'm always searching for vintage shit on eBay, and comedy posters, and where you see like, okay, and then at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. is going to be the comedy show. Like Lenny Bruce would do, they start at 4 a.m. and now a late show is 9:30.
That's right. Brett, you know who Brad Upton is?
Know the name?
He's an interesting guy. He was on the podcast last week, and he's on Dry Bar. He's one of those Dry Bar guys, and that's
Ugh.
a YouTube channel, and that's really clean. And he plays. Brad does shows to people at 5:30 in the afternoon, like an older crowd, and just packs them.
First of all, yeah, if no one's drinking, who gives a shit what hour it is?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I guess clean goes hand in hand with sober, as far as you wouldn't expect a dry Dice Clay show.
No.
But I do like getting it the fuck over with. I'm just doing it, being done at 2 p.m. and packing up your shit and going back to the hotel. It's a lot of fun, and people have this kind of when Kreischer would do daytime shows and call it call in sick to work shows, and they all had that feeling like they're skipping school. Everyone walks in with a kind of a shit-eating grin, like they're getting away with something.
That's right. That's right. To me, I'm just old. I just started doing stand-up again a year and a half ago, but I had a spot at the Comedy Store at 10:45 last week, and I was like, "Are you fucking serious? Don't you understand?" But the truth is, once you get there, you realize the crowd's just getting loose and drunk, and that's a good time to be on stage, But for me, I got to shift my clock a little bit, because that's normally a guy, if I'm not doing stand up, I'm in bed at that time,
Yeah, I rarely do spots if I'm going to LA for other reasons to do, promotion or whatever. I'll go to the Comedy Store, but I don't do sets. I don't know to do 15 minutes. I would have to
it's hard. It's hard. Yeah. Well, it wasn't for me after 28 years, I had to do only sets, because I couldn't do an hour. I had to get my legs back.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I saw you at the Comedy Store in the main room. I think maybe a year ago, 2 years ago. I don't know. Maybe it was before COVID even.
They all blend together now.
Yeah. When did you play the main? Anymore. When did you do the main room? But
it could have been a year ago.
I remember I heard about it. I made a point to get down there and see it, and you were fucking great, man. I pissed my pants, and that was, I would say you did an hour and a half or hour 20, something like that.
Probably. Yeah.
It was, I guess at the time you were talking about your mom passing. And
that's a while ago.
Yeah.
Oh wait, maybe all right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That was a callback to about my dog dying, and then calling it back to my mother. Yeah, that was a closer back then. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, you closed with all that. But and then to me, and there's guys like Brian Holtzman, I used to sit and watch him late at night at the Comedy Store, and people would go, "Shit, he's walking the room," and I'd say, "Well, these people, if they're leaving, they just want to go home. They couldn't be that offended by comedy. That it's late at night. He's not walking the room. They're just look at the clock. These people, anybody, I don't know anyone that could really get that offended by a comedy routine."
Yeah, but I think that it gets a lot of a conflict gets clicks. If you find, no matter what you say on stage, somewhere someone's gonna take offense. my dad has diabetes. You shouldn't make fun of diabetes. Well, I wasn't. I just said the word diabetes. Uh, but now people actively go out to find someone angry at something, and then they blow that up. People are outraged. No, you found someone. You just you searched a word on Twitter and you found one person who said a negative thing and turned it into people are outraged. And then everyone else takes an opinion on this non-existent outrage, and then they fight each other.
That's right. Patrick has works with, John Tobin. Do you ever work in any of John Tobin's clubs back in Boston? Like the Laugh Boston and all those.
We had you in Detroit. We have the Detroit House of Comedy.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, you packed it out. It was awesome.
Well, I was playing what's it called? Off Cabot
in Beverly. Yep.
Yeah, and I was just doing this joke about pedophiles, not pro pedophiles. I mean, there's not a lot of pro pedophile material, and if there was, I wouldn't be doing it. But it was just pedophile jokes about, and I'd been doing this bit, and the audience had been laughing at it, and and for some reason, this guy got up and he got so fucking mad at me. He just started screaming and yelling at me, "You fucking asshole!" And it would have been fine if it was just, and I let him just go off on me. But then some other broad, like on the other side of the room, like, well, he's right. He's right. And it was just it just turned into this. And it really, and the whole time since I'd been back, you got to remember, I hadn't been I went 28 years when I didn't do this, so I was dealing with a different culture, and I hadn't had any problem with hecklers or any, I've been saying, I say whatever I want to say.
Well, it's a big difference when you have your own audience. And I don't go out and shop material like Louis C.K. would talk about. Well, now you go to the Comedy Cellar and they don't know you're coming. You're going to get an honest response. Well, I don't want an honest response. I spent 33 years developing my own fan base, and those are the only people I want to play to. Why am I going to risk getting fucking booed by some bachelorette party? Other than the simple joy of making them upset,
right? But my thing on top of it is I don't really care anymore. To me it's like I know I'm not an evil guy. I know I'm not. I'm just like, this is funny to me. If it's not funny to you, it's okay. But I already know. Like this one, by the way, I've already done this enough that no, it's funny. So fuck off. But in the whole time since I'd been back, I'd never had. And it was one of these situations where the audience just turned into, it became like the Oxbow incident. It just, they were yelling back and forth and yelling at each other and yelling at me. And I finally went, you know what, folks, good night. Fuck it. And I walked off stage. I said, I'm too old for this shit. You guys are acting like assholes. And I hadn't, it was just funny. I couldn't believe. Remember this, Patrick?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it turned into like a Twitter reply. You know what I mean? Like it's like you put out a tweet and then the replies just started coming, but it was just like live in person. Everybody thought they had an opinion and wanted to talk. It was nuts.
At first, I was getting a kick out of it.
Right. With the one guy, we were like, oh, he's just crazy. And then it literally turned into like a comment section.
This crazy. One woman kept popping up. And here's another point about this. I said, this ain't the Phil Donahue show. This is, but I think that's the other side of it too, is everybody in the world now, there's too many comment sections to everything in life. Everyone thinks their opinion is an important thing to throw around. Our opinions aren't that important.
No, or necessary.
No.
And it's you can be uninformed, and it's okay to say, I don't really know. You can't buy a product without getting a fucking email saying, "Tell us what you think. How
I
did we do?"
I know.
It's maddening. Like,
I know. I know. It's unbelievable. Could you stay on afterwards and give us a little survey?
yeah,
No.
yeah, pay me,
Yeah.
pay me. Like,
No,
hey, if you fill
I was
out
good.
this survey, we'll give you fucking 25% off. Yeah, offer me something, you fucking asshole. What if Amazon, or that guy's Bezos, what if his email box was just jammed with every single customer sent one email to him saying, "Hey, tell me how I did as a customer." Every time you bought something from Jeff Bezos, one email went to him. Just take a second, Jeff, and tell me how I did as a customer. What could I do better? Did you like that I paid with an American Express? Would you prefer Discover card, Visa?
This is hilarious, dog.
That's great. That's great. Did I get it? It was the soap that I ordered, a good kind of soap, or would you rather me have used a kind of a Tide dishwashing soap? Anything you need. Just tell us what I could do better as a customer.
I have the email for Delta's CEO, and I've been tempted to, but I'm a Delta loyalist. I'm a 2 million miler, and yeah, I'm not gonna shit where I eat.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I had the email address, I would try to get a flash mob on that, just peppering them with surveys.
And then the other one I love is now every tablet I use, they say, "Do you want a tip on for everything?" And they ask me, "Do you want to do a custom tip, like 20%, 25, or custom?" You go, "Yeah, I want to buy you a pony." Okay, what? Oh, give me your social security number. I'm gonna actually leave you half of everything I have when I go. The way you just turned around and grabbed that bag of burgers, you changed my life. It just
What first of all, yeah, tipping is everywhere. They just but they're forced to do it a lot of the times. The car wash I go to, they say, and would you like to add a gratuity? And you go, this kid doesn't want to ask. They're making him ask. Like, pay the fucking kids that work for you, you fuck. I want to talk to the fucking manager.
That's right.
I'm a very good Karen. A lot of times, I will fucking take down when I see a Karen or an employee getting berated by his boss, or a manager flicking his employee shit. I can't wait to fucking tear him apart right in front of the kid, because you're not going to talk shit to a customer. Like, hey, leave that fucking kid alone. You're lucky anyone works for you, you fucking bozo. Fuck you.
The problem though nowadays is the boss. They're all like they're all ready just to go off on you. They'll record this. They just jump over the counter and start berating you or slapping you around. And go, I can get a lot of views on this. Wendy's manager goes off on old Jew. That's the other thing that I think. It's just like you watch these things, you go, is everybody recording everything? Is nobody getting in the middle? It's going, hey, stop it, quit, go, don't slap that kid. Instead, everyone's going, no, this is actually good TV.
But that's always been my beef with people filming my act. Like, people filming your show, and you're like, how many thousands of fucking ways do I have to tell you? No, it will not be tolerated. You will be thrown out. But then when the show goes haywire and someone starts, the fisticuffs break out in the crowd and someone's yelling shit and being drugged by that's when you should be filming, and no one ever films that. Like, that's the shit that's going to get you clicks. That's the stuff that's going to go viral on fucking YouTube. And where was your phone then?
Now, I imagine you have a lot of that in your show.
Yeah, I don't. It's not usually. It's not with anger. There's not animosity. I attract drunks. Obviously, I'm a booze bag, and drinkers come and they're not always good at it, and they're overzealous, and they tailgate a little too early and a little too much. And yeah, there's a reason that you go to the bar at 8 and everyone's kind of the same, and if you leave at 1, everyone's kind of the same, but you're shit faced now. You can't show up at the show midnight drunk at fucking 7:30 at night. I don't mind a drunk as long as we're all on the same page. We have to work together. See?
No, let me ask you about another thing that I've always been really curious about with you, because I don't know if the whole point of this podcast, and I have this platform, Stand Up World. When I came back after years of being away from stand-up comedy and the world, I kind of became a little fascinated with the underworld of stand-up and everybody who kind of built their own kind of world away from, because when I was doing it, you had to do the Tonight Show and HBO or this or that, and so many guys created their own trails through the woods, bushwhacked, and you were fascinating to me. That you just were another guy who just made his own way through the world, and you don't seem connected in any way with show business. Yet you always seem to be doing new things. You got a new movie out and your albums and books. And how do you do that?
Well, I didn't know any better. I didn't know that I couldn't. Like when I started, Las Vegas had to be the worst place to try to start stand-up comedy in 1990, because there was a million open mic nights, but none of the clubs on the Strip would touch local talent. They would all their talent. Steve Sharippa, I'm sure you worked for him. The Riviera.
No.
Even the MCs came from LA or New York. There was no place to grow out of the vacuum of open mics. There were guys that were doing open mics for 12, 15 years and just do it. I remember Geechee Guy came down to an open mic. This guy that ran the open mic was trying to get like professional talent in to make this room take off. And between shows, Geechee Guy came down, someone heckled him, and he said, "I don't come down to where you work and unplug the Slurpee machine." The back of the room fell out. That's how removed the open mic scene was. They had never heard that heckler line, like one of the most hackneyed fucking lines, and the back of the room is destroyed. And of course, the next week, everyone had their own version of that heckler line. But yeah, it was so fortunately, I fell in love with a girl in Phoenix, and that's when I moved down and I got a job as a house MC at a club down there. And that's when I met working comics that got me triple gigs and, just all those shitty little road gigs to start me off.
And you didn't feel like, boy, man, I mean, I am saying this with respect, believe me, man, because even though I was very entrepreneurial in what I did in the industry, I feel like I just felt like I had to be in LA all the time and play the game, and there you never felt that like,
I did 10 years in LA and I just hated it. I loathe cities. I hate traffic. I don't like that much. Yeah. I love small town, but generally small town means, idiots and fucking rednecks, small-minded people. So when I found this town where I go, all right, it's kind of half hippie and half people that walk around with a gun on their sidearm. Why do you need a gun in a fucking Safeway? Really? But everyone, it balances out, so it's not too heavy either direction, and everyone leaves you the fuck alone. And there's one traffic light, and it's always green.
And you only do your own shows, right?
Yeah. I don't do, I don't go to, if I'm in New York, I'll go to the Comedy Cellar, maybe say hi, but I don't do sets.
And has you been doing that for a while?
Yeah. I even the last couple of years I lived in LA, I stopped doing sets. I stopped going out. There was no need for it. There's a kid out there that needs that 5 minutes. I'm sick of fucking saying that 5 minutes. So what am I going to achieve? I still don't understand people who go, unless you're working out new shit. Why are you going up? Give someone else a fucking chance. You just want to hear yourself talk.
And I assume that you'll be working out new stuff while you're doing your shows, right?
Yeah. No, if I have new stuff, I'm opening with it. And if it fucking tanks, then I go right back into the stuff that I'm tired of saying.
And
I filmed it's been May now. I still haven't gotten around to giving the editor bullet points of but I filmed a special to put out. And now whenever I do go back out, I'm going to be starting completely from scratch. And I love that feeling. I go out, I'll book a bunch of shit towns in the mountain time zone. And, if you show up in Wyoming and Montana doing sets, they're not judging your act.
But wait, Doug, then I'm fascinated with this too. So you'll go out headlining a show and you'll start completely over. You won't do any of the old stuff?
That's what I think. That's what all of us did after COVID. 18 months off. I wasn't doing Zoom shows or fucking silly drive-in fucking nonsense.
No, but I mean, like, you get up there, people paid to see you, and you don't want to. You're thinking, I don't.
God, I'll go up with just papers. And, hang on, what's the fucking Oh yeah, did you see this thing? Yeah, I'll have yellow legal pads and.
That's great. That's great. I saw this. You did this special in Vegas, which I thought was really great. But I thought there's so much of that stuff. If I saw that and I was a fan, I'd want to come back and see you. I'd want to see some of that stuff live. But a lot of people, a lot of comics go, no. Once you do it, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, no, that's why it became a special, is because I was sick of saying it. And I've already performed it in every English-speaking country. I've milked this. That's why. Hey, why are you playing Scandinavia or us? Because it's the only English-speaking people who haven't heard this, and it's easier to fly to Australia than it is to write a new hour. So I'm gonna go to Australia first. Yes, I will go to South Africa. I've never actually played South Africa, but if I had to film this special to a place where no one saw it, that would be the last place that I haven't.
South Africa right now it's a really good time for you as a white man to be playing. I would say that or LA.
I went there to visit once to Cape Town just for vacation, and there was no civil unrest at the time, but the tension was still palpable. I did not care for it.
Hey, tell me real quick also about your movie, because I heard it's great. Someone saw it at Skankfest and said that it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's called The Road Dog, and it's it's basically about a guy my age that's an alcoholic, chain smoking, drunk, road comic. It's you get it. And then
did you get a coach for that?
Exactly. Yeah. Didn't need to audition.
Didn't you play a character like that?
Yes.
On Louis?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's the character Eddie from that Louis. It's as though if he hadn't killed himself and he was dying of liver failure now and found out he had a kid. That's the movie.
And how did that come about?
It's not hilarious. It's a drama.
Is it drama? That's great. I like those kind of movies.
And it's very low budget. So
I heard it was really great. I heard you were great in it, by the way.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, have you heard that? Yeah. No, I heard it from comedians.
Well, thank you.
And
yeah,
it's out there. By the way, you never hear comedians like movies about comedians. It's like race car drivers all hate race car movies. Yeah, the wheels were the wrong wheels.
Yeah, I was that guy on the set. I'm like this. Like there's one scene where I do comedy in a church, and I go make it like a benefit or something. This doesn't make sense that what church? But these two writers were actually comics, a little older than me. He goes, no, that was actually a thing. There was the Southern markets, churches would hire do comics. And I'm like, all right, if it's,
I've never done a show in a church, but I don't know. So did they come to you with this movie, or
yes, they emailed me, and my manager said, "Hey, someone wants you to do a movie. It's films 5 weeks in Chicago in February." And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking Chicago in the winter ever for any reason, and I'm not an actor. And then I read the script, and I go, okay, I don't have to be an actor because I play a chain smoking alcoholic.
Now, is there any part of you that looked at that and go, "This is kind of offensive"?
No, but I can see. Well, I see that a lot in other movies. Well, the girl that plays my girlfriend, who is actually my ex-girlfriend and plays my ex-girlfriend in the movie, she just got a role because she puts her house up. She rents a house for a set location, and some student film rented the house, and she ended up getting the lead role and the movie is called The Hag. And I'm like, that's
man.
She's very happy when she found out that she had to get makeup. She thought she was like, if I'm just a natural hag, well, then that's gonna hurt a lot.
That's what I always wonder, man. You know, when you're writing these scripts, you go, a big fat woman comes in and picks up a pizza. You go, who's gonna want to go up for this role? You know, just all right. But obviously, you saw that there was a lot of meat on that bone.
Yeah, it was, I always that thing in your head where you go, well, if nothing else, I'll get material out of it.
That's right.
Like if it sucks that bad, at least, and I didn't get much material out of it. I had a pretty good time doing it.
And where can I see it?
It's on a million streaming services that I don't even know what the fuck they are because I'm old, but it's on Prime. So
it's on Prime? Okay,
you
good.
can rent it on Prime. The Road Dog.
Okay, good. I will watch it right away. And like Apple TV and that kind of thing?
Probably, yeah. Flubby and Noonie and Chachi and fucking, I don't know.
It's on Clitoris.
Yeah.
Is that something you want to do more of?
I'm fielding offers.
Yeah?
No.
Are you? That's
Doug
great.
Standhope at Hotmail. Yep, I still use the Hotmail.
No, really, I'm serious.
I'm dead serious. Yeah.
That's great.
I got 0 offers after I did Louis until this one.
And is stand-up, are you just going to stay with it for the, you know?
I don't plan on going out for a long time. I had a house fire and I've been out of my house. It's going to be done tomorrow after almost a year out of my house, living out of hotels.
That was a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah. It was last Thanksgiving, 2 days before, and now tomorrow. And I have to I'll be moving in from scratch. Like literally everything was taken out of my home. Like the junk drawer was all in storage up until a couple of weeks ago. And now tomorrow I get to put all my shit back together, and I'm going to take my time doing it.
And where are you now?
I'm in this office we're trying to turn into a studio that I rented here in Bisbee.
But I'll tell you something, you know, and Louis said this to me. I was interviewing Louis for that doc, and he said one of the reasons that he did want to stay with stand-up was because there's not a lot of stand-ups that have done it as from an older point of view, written material. You know, there's maybe George Burns, but he was just doing gags. But comedians tend to die or flame out or give it up. You know?
Yeah, it's or they become successful and then they're out of touch.
Right. Which I don't think you're going to have that problem in Bigsby.
Yeah, Carlin was still he made his life enough hell that he had he still had grit.
He had stuff to write about.
Right.
He had drama. He didn't need to do a movie in the snow in Chicago.
Right. But there's an ease to, like, when you're acting, you show up and you don't have to write anything. You just I have to memorize these 2 pages today. Okay, I can do that.
I got to tell you, I did it for a long time. It bored the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I can see where.
I was directing, and when you're a director, the day goes by like that. You go, how could it be 5 o'clock already? And then you're an actor, and you go, wait a minute, it's still 9 a.m. It's the most.
I would love to just do cameos. I jokingly said after I did Louis that I just want to play this character. If I ever act again, it's only Eddie who's going to kill himself. I don't care if it's young Sheldon and I just have one scene where I'm Eddie and I'm going to kill myself and just.
That's really funny.
In fact, I did a very small part in Carl Pilkington. Do you know Carl Pilkington? An Idiot Abroad. It was a Ricky Gervais project. Anyway, he had a show, and they hired me to do a part, and I asked him if they'd change the character's name to Eddie because it doesn't matter, and just allow me at one point say, "Oh, I'm going to kill myself," and they let me throw that in.
That's really funny. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. There's a lot of roles for that guy. That guy could pop up in a lot of scripts that are out there. Think about it.
Yeah, no, I would do that. I would, and that would also, okay, I just show up for one day and then I can say I'm in the movie. I went to, I know Johnny Depp a little bit, and I went to, he was in Australia filming the last Pirates he did. And I kind of, I didn't ask him because I didn't want to be a douche, but I wanted to be an extra in a scene. Like, I just, like, is that Doug Stanhope in the background?
Yeah, that would have been great.
Well, I didn't, mostly because it would be a pain because they'd have to dress me up as a fucking pirate. Like, if I could just be a guy drinking coffee in the background, like I want people to go, hey, that's fucking Doug Standhope.
No, and here's the problem, because I've had a couple friends over the years on my movies say, hey, can I? Yeah. And then they don't realize at 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning, you stand there. You're standing there all day, buddy.
Yep.
You're there all day. Okay. From 80, I'm going to shoot this scene 15 different ways. You're always there.
Yep. No, but when I moved to LA in '85, when I started doing Toner, that scam, I was 18, and I did my share of extra work, and yeah, I remember, God, I can't remember her name now. Some movie with Bruce Dern. Lee Remick was the actress's name, and she said hi to me because I was at the craft services table, not realizing I'm supposed to be at the other shitty craft services table. And she said hi to me, and I fucking raced home and called my mom. Lee Remick said hi to me.
Well, I was going to tell you, I did this movie, Man About Town, this Lionsgate movie with Ben Affleck that just went off the rails and bombed. But John Cleese did 3 days in it. And he was so great. He was just so great to work with. And I went to dinner with him at this Chinese restaurant. I go, God, you're so much fun. He goes, I'm fun because I'm here 3 days. I'm miserable to work with any longer. He just, that's it. You got me. You hit my mark, and it makes so much sense, after to me, being an actor on something more than 3 days would be.
I love reading the story. I just read one about the last Mad Max, Fury Road. I read a book about the making of, and it was one of those disaster, like the behind the scenes is so like Apocalypse Now, that whole Hearts of Darkness documentary they did, and Island of Dr. Moreau was evidently a clusterfuck. I love those stories about these productions that are just haywire. And this book I think it was like 18 hours, and I wished it never ended.
Yep. Yeah. Really? You guys did 18-hour shoots?
No. This book I just Audible book. I love stories about productions behind the scenes shit going wrong.
Oh,
So
I
just
thought you
posted
said
this-
so. And the one you just did was 18 hours. Yeah,
Yeah,
though.
no. Well, we had a lot of shit go wrong, but it was nothing exciting. Like, okay, we lost our location at the last minute. Like, we're not going to be able to film that scene, so we're going to have to correct the script. And so, yeah, we didn't have anyone going fucking haywire and shooting guns. And
Well, if you like those books, there's a book called Final Cut.
I think I read that. Is
Yeah.
it?
I forget what the name of the movie, but it was about a horrible. It was. I think it was a Richard Gere movie, and it brought a studio down at the time. It was.
I just got one about Bonfire of the Vanities.
Oh yeah, that was a good book.
I forget the name of the book. But
Yeah, I know that. I know the name of that. I know that book. I read that book. But that Final Cut, that's not it, is it? But it brought a studio down.
Heaven's Gate.
Yeah.
Dreams and Disaster in the Making of Heaven's Gate.
Yes,
That's
yes.
the one.
But that's what, when you can read about an unruly production and at the double banger of at the same time it's bringing a studio down. It's like that's like movie porn.
That was Warren Beatty, right? Heaven's Gate.
Yeah, Heaven's Gate. Warren Beatty, Dustin Hoffman, and the director was Elaine May, I believe.
All right.
It's a great book. It's just a great book. You can't put it down.
If it's on Audible, I'm grabbing it.
Yeah. Well, listen, man. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time. I don't know if you remember. I came backstage one night at your show. I just was like a little kid, I just been wanting to talk to you, and I was always so bummed that I didn't get you in that documentary because you're the real deal,
Yeah, but I would have felt uncomfortable. If I was in that, I would feel like there's a million comics going, he's never at the Comedy Store. He's rarely there. Like I perform there for money when I have a new set.
I found a great picture of you though with you and Rogan. Like I think Rogan kissing you, and I put it in the documentary.
Yeah. I saw that. I like that.
Yeah,
I appreciated that.
Yeah, cool. All right, man. Well, listen, just know I'm a big fan of yours, and one of these days I'll talk you into playing a sober guy who doesn't touch drugs or smoke in a movie. And you'll go, wait a minute, I can't do that. That's acting. That's bullshit.
And I'll have a Cockney accent.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Mike, it's a pleasure. And you too, son. Little
Thanks,
boy in
Doug.
the corner.
Great to meet you.
Yeah, that's a fucking great club up in Detroit. As soon as I have an act, I'll be back there.
They would love to have you.
Yeah. All right.
Be well. Okay. There's another episode down. Man, Doug Standhope. Let's all make sure we watch his movie, Road Dogg. But more important, check out his specials and his books on Amazon. He really, some of his books are just incredible. And his specials, they're all up there. You can go to Amazon and just get him. He just does his own thing. He makes his own products, markets them. He's got a great Patreon. If you want to go to Patreon and sign up, I'm a member. I've signed up. It's not a lot of money. It's a pittance to support the guy. I strongly suggest that you do that as well. Patrick, there's no reason why a fella like you who's regularly employed can't sign up as a regular member of the Doug Stanhope Patreon.
You're right.
It can't be easy pounding out a living from Bigston, Arizona, wherever the hell that guy's living in.
I know.
But boy, I would love to get him in one of my movies sometime.
He'd be great.
He's a talented dude. But that's it. I love this podcast. Having some really talented people on. I want to get Leanne Morgan. Leanne Morgan. Damn you. You got to come on here. You crazy lady. All right. That's it. Everybody, have a great week. We'll see you next week. We have some fun coming up. I love you. Thank you so much for the support. Be happy.